All right, hello everybody. My name is Lorraine, and today I have with me Patrick Price, who is the project director of Heartland College or Heartland Academy, and I also have with me Karan Singh, who is the current principal of the school. So welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Lorraine.
So I want to introduce both of these gentlemen here who has been helping me behind the scenes in regards to this whole organizing and planning of my trip to Heartland Academy. So before we get into there, Patrick, would you like to just introduce or maybe mention in regards to your position as the project director?
Yes, thanks, Lorraine. Yes, I am the CEO of the Centre for Learning and Children's Rights, or CLCR Australia, that oversees Heartland's operations in Nepal and all the other activities we do associated with the school, as well as professional development across Nepal. So my role is to lead that in partnership with Karan and the team on the ground. And that is everything from curriculum delivery to project managing to fundraising and charitable trust activities in Nepal and in Australia, with our partners that support our work.
Fantastic. Now, Karen, as the principal, how long have you been the principal of the school?
That's great. Thank you so much for this opportunity and putting my thoughts together. Yes, as a principal, I'm working here at Heartland since the beginning. It is the school uh, is under now CLCR Australia and CLCR Nepal. Both organizations are like governing bodies of the school. And as a principal, I am working here since 2008. It means now 2023. And since then, I have been working here under CLCR Australia, CLCR Nepal. We follow all of the curriculum in Nepal, especially, but it is quite progressive pedagogy. And we are approaching here like international standard, how the things are being taught in the classroom. And also school falls nursery to class 10, and we have about 500 students and about 55 staff member altogether. So I would like to say this is first democratic school in Nepal, and another name like it is one of the Australian school in Nepal, and we are providing better opportunity to underprivileged sectors, so many families, so many children from remote area, and so on. Also, about 50% students they are in scholarship provision, and CLCR Australia has provided a vast range of the scholarship support for their education opportunity. It is fantastic opportunity for all of them in the country. So I'm happily working as a bridging tools and coordinating the things between Australian organization and the remote area parental body and so on. Yeah, that is somehow the current status. Thank you.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yes, Patrick.
What I would say also is that, Karan and I have worked together for upwards of 16 years. At least 15 of those he has been principal of Heartland. And one of the keys to our, I suppose, our long-term longevity and sustainability and impact is the partnership with the local community, particularly Karan leading that. We would not have been able to be as expansive or have as great an impact without that on-the-ground leadership, and that's really important. It's an important vision for us as an organisation, but it's also part of our focus on building capacity and empowering particularly the local population with skill development and leadership capacity so that they can lead a school which provides broad range impact, as Karan mentioned, particularly to young women of the country that are marginalised and do not have the opportunities that many have, whether through being a particular caste or suffering trauma or just being female. So, I would say it comes down to the leadership that Karan provides for us to be able to support our vision for a very different type of schooling that is also non-violent and focuses on, the students at the centre of our activities. Now, I think this might be a good point just to pause in your recording, because there could be two children that run into the room in a second. So just hang on one moment. Give me a sec.
Yes, Lauren, it is fantastic project in Nepal, and thousands of the families and the population, they have been successfully standing in different position and profession from this school who have got quality education. They are now significantly working throughout the world in many countries, and who have got the basic education at this institution. You can see so many students are there in Sydney, even UK, similarly US, and significantly they are still studying in different scholarship scheme as well in abroad. So it is good to say, like, whatever culture, education, and life-based educational approach, whatever they have got, it is real platform to give them very strong standing in the international society. So we are happy to be working as the similar approach for future generation as well. It is a great moment for all of us, and I would like to thank you everyone, you as well, and you are planning to support from different perspective for music department and other things as well. So it is really like beneficial values to the student for their real learning, and to be developed themselves as a professional leader in the future. That's great. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So that's great that we have the same vision. It's inspiring the next generation of potential leaders and potential inspirational people out there. So it's also like what Patrick said. It's also great that you are in this position, because with the couple of times that I've spoken to you, you perceive as a great leader within your school itself, and I can see that your teachers do respect you a lot. So it's great. You're doing a great job, Karan. So keep it up, keep up with it. Now, just to let all of you know, that background that Karan has, that's not where the school is, but that's part of Kathmandu, I think Karan was mentioning.
Okay. Yeah.
Karan, where is that village area? Where is that
Yeah.
particularly the background of your Zoom? Where is that in your village?
It is, yeah, near one of my village part, yeah, in western part of Nepal. Yeah.
So how far would that be from where the school is?
It is quite far, about 38 hours by bus. Still there is no any flight schedule or flight like facility to reach up to my village. It is just a half of the middle way, and again we have to take bus, and it is hilly region, and it is last border somehow it in the country, yeah, nearby India, and from that area India is very near. Even the capital city of India, New Delhi, that is near than Kathmandu. This is the situation from my village. Yeah.
That picture does remind me of Borneo, part of Borneo, which is where I was originally from. So it's amazing. It's a great reminder of my home country.
And Lorena, I might add that for many years we've been planning on expanding our, particularly a second school project, a second Heartland within Nepal, and we've done many smaller snapshot projects throughout remote areas. But we're on the cusp of starting a second Heartland operation in an area called Polpa, which is also quite near to the Indian border, slightly different region, but its landscape is quite similar to what you see depicted behind Karan. And that will also, complement a third project which we're looking at this year, which is also a women's only college, and that will be paired on the same site with a medical clinic that will offer very cheap and high quality medical facilities around education for maternal health, menstruation health, as well as cervical cancer assessment processes. So we are broad ranging, and again, it comes down to responding to the need and supporting, on the ground, and working with the local teams that we have through Karan.
Yeah.
So
no, that's amazing. We would like to hear more about it later on in the future in regards to your plans and the outcome of it. Now, Patrick, with the couple of times that you have visited Heartland, what is your experience and the school?
Well, I think I've been to Nepal maybe 60 times, and there was at least 3 years in a row right at the start where I was in the country for in between 6 and 8 months at a time. And then, over that 15-year period, as I mentioned, significant back and forth. But what we also did was really work on strong, solid systems. And that means that Karan and I almost speak daily with various things, as well as over this medium as well. My impressions of Heartland, encompass the body and the vision of what we wanted to set out right from the start. Number one, the kids are happy, and it's a student-focused, centred education where they are at the forefront through what we call democratic education, where they are empowered to have a significant say about how they use their time, how they engage in their learning throughout programs throughout each week. But then we also focus on creating a really strong, safe environment through practicing, non-violent education. And unfortunately, Nepal has a long history of violence in the classroom. Although a very peaceful country and very peaceful people, the classrooms are often led by fear. And one thing that impacts that is particularly in village areas and in also the metropolitan cities, is 70 plus students in a classroom. So what we do is we have 25, and if it gets beyond 25, we usually look to split. And we take a very different approach from our nursery right through to the end of our primary, where we have a team teaching approach. So there's 2 to 3 teachers in there at any one time, as well as a learning support teacher. And we employ, a psychologist and a counsellor that works with a lot of the students, because many of them have significant damage within trauma, within previous backgrounds. And so, we work strongly to have a wraparound approach. And so that creates a very harmonious environment, because also our focus is on lots of practical education and real life, skill experiences, whether it be through our barista program in our canteen, our agricultural patch, at the back of the school. The kids often are vibrant, very fast moving, very happy, very engaged in a different type of learning, not only in the classroom through, strong academic practices, but there's always a buzz around the school. It's loud, it's full of energy. There's heaps of dancing, music, lots of outdoor sports. That's a key part of our program, right through, to from nursery right through to our college level. And so my impression is that kids are not scared of adults, and therefore the relationships are genuine, and it's a real focus on connection that informs curriculum. And so, it's a busy place, it's a resourceful place, and it's a bright and vibrant, colourful place, and a very welcoming place as well. There's lots of curiosity, and that's backed up by lots of programs, whether it be STEM, whether it be science-based, whether it be sports, IT, and our library is a really strong focus of all that. It's a student design library, and that's a hub for a lot of activities, and that complements the environment. So, my impressions are that, yes, it's a very busy place, but it's full of learning, full of fun, and full of challenge as well. Mm. And yes, sometimes it's difficult on the ground to work within those, very different environment from, in comparison to other schools. We don't focus on just the end of year assessment task. We focus on the holistic picture of the child. It is one place that champions learning and champions students' opportunities, and it's supported strongly by, a fantastic team of staff who have always worked with me very closely and have always taken on, the very different ideas that we've had to try and create more opportunity for education in the country. And like I said, we couldn't do it without the fantastic people on the ground.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So now, from what I'm hearing is, it sounds like, as an educator myself, and I used to be a classroom teacher with the Department of Education. Now it sounds like you've incorporated kind of that whole planning process of how the department is in Australia and kind of incorporated in Heartland. Is that correct to say?
Well, we model a lot of the systems and processes on good policies that I've been part of, definitely through working in educational settings, in Australia and other countries as well. But we look to put a Nepali contextual spin on them so that, it works across that sort of barrier between the two countries. Bear in mind also that the policies are in English predominantly, with the exception of some, where that takes a little bit of massaging contextually to make sure that those things are right. But yes, it is backed up by a strong set of systems that help throughout some of the most difficult times, whether it be COVID, whether it be earthquakes, whether it be war, whether it be poverty. They form the basis for our day-to-day activities, and that is supported also by a strong philosophy and the documentation around that, which is built in to the professional learning of staff each time they're employed, as well as on an ongoing basis. So they're in the best position to not only support the philosophical approach we take, but deliver the best they can through program or in the classroom.
No, that's great. I mean, like, back in my day, we had like 55 girls in the same classroom. And, as a teacher in Australia, your limit was, like you said, 25 as well. So it's interesting to hear how you used to have 70 kids in a classroom in Kathmandu to suddenly drop drastically to 25, where the teachers can focus, and spend proper and enough time per student. So it's really, really great to hear.
The challenge is that many schools still operate like that. And since our day one of the first things we did was trying to put in systems and approaches such as that allow teachers to spend time to build relationships with the kids, but then work with them to support their learning and well-being as well, and having smaller classroom. And occasionally, if we go over 25, we might split it in two, certainly in the upper sections, and in the primary sections or other areas, we may bulk it up with extra staffing or a variety of programs so that there's still that really small group individualized approach. But that is very different from pretty much every other school that operates in Kathmandu and Nepal. And I think probably Karan can speak to that.
Yeah, exactly. It is great to say, especially the students as a learner, they are getting very advanced and resourceful environment here for their practical learning. Smaller number in classroom with specific support or individual support by the teacher, that is really impactful learning for the students and their engagement in each and every activities or any department. Also, we are very much sure how the students, they are equally distributed the uh, better opportunity for their engagement in the classroom in any department. We are highly intentive, and also we plan in a best way, how the students, they can get easy access in doing such activities. And also our motive is learning by doing or learning by playing in different level as well. That's why it has been very comparatively very useful and very progressive environment for the student. We have so many resourceful department here within the school premises, and um, very big library building separately, and so on. Also, yes, it is huge consuming for the resources and materials as well, which is not easily sufficient from the school's personal or internal sources as well. So that's why the CLCR Australia team especially is funding from different perspective to provide such materials in the classrooms, in the departments, and so on. That's why the students, they are having such grateful learning to their real practical approach day by day. So it is very happy environment for the student. They learn by being engaged themselves. They are fully a responsible person to make classroom decisions and to bring up with their personal ideas as well. So that's why we used to say like democratic culture in the classroom, setup management and every other rules and regulations. Students, they are the part of class expectations, and they make such opinions and thoughts what are basically important for their learning. And the school administration and teacher staff members as well, they support according to their um, requirement and their opinion based supporting tools for each and every activities. So it is really different than other schools in the country. And I have been myself witness like what was my childhood school learning premises, and how I am working here in highly progressive environment. So I am the real witness to see and to elaborate like such type of differences in traditional education system and now modern type of educational system. Uh, so that's great opportunity. Yeah.
I can see like from the way Karan is talking about Heartland, it's like he really enjoys his job. It's beautiful to see.
Well, Karan and I have been through as sort of joint leaders, with a few others. I think some of the toughest times for the country, like COVID, really stripped the country badly. And I think we came out of it probably better than most. I think not only being stable with systems and policies, but then also being able to draw from good practices that I was a part of, abroad within education departments, and be able to have strong frameworks and then have strong donors that we had built up relationships over a sort of period of more than a decade that stood by us, and realised that, much like when there was earthquakes in 2015, being on the ground, although not being disaster specialists, being able to weather the storm really well and have strong commitment on the ground, as a result, we were able to, almost quadruple our scholarship intake during those periods and provide significant support. So Karan and I have weathered some significant storms over the time. And then also there is the day-to-day living in a country like Nepal, and a city like Kathmandu. When we first started working together, there was 18 hours a day without electricity. So one of the first things we did was put, batteries in and solar panels. Now that situation is not the same, these days, but just the day-to-day living in comparison to, say, Sydney, or where you are at the moment, right? Where you can flick a switch and electricity and light comes straight away. Almost every tap within the country of Nepal, if you turn it in a sink, the water is gravity fed from a bucket up the top, which is pumped into something underground by a truck that comes around once a week. And so these things logistically make it quite difficult. But through, I suppose, perseverance, good systems, patience, and then building up, strong processes. At times it certainly has been challenging, and we've had many robust discussions about how to, manage and lead during those times. But I think what is the key, both Karan and I both believe that it's, when you step back, it's always about looking at what's in the student's best interest and what's in the school's best interest, and how to best create that pathway, and how to best strike that balance. And because there's belief on the ground and there's vision here, then, I think mostly we get it right. Karan, would you say?
Yeah, greatly. Yes. Also, I think you will be observing all of these facilities and the things on the progressive system-based approaches for each student and their engagement in the activities and so on. So I think by the next month, you yourself will be here, and it will be nice to see the things in reality and make such other movement further on.
I'm very excited to actually meet you in person, Karan, and the team and the students actually.
He's as good as he appears, Lorraine, via the screen. He's good in person.
Yeah.
What you'll find also coming to Heartland is if you need support, you'll have it. If you also, you're going to have, once the program gets rolling, I can foresee significant interest. And what I found is that because they've been exposed to a lot of opportunity, they may gradually and slowly start to take an interest. But once they take an interest, then it is much like, a snowball effect. And what I would say is that because they've had access, and we often use the term, the school is not a museum. The resources we have are there to be accessed through program, through teaching and opportunities that we create for the students. So it's brilliant to be able to partner with someone that has the professionality that you do and the background that you do, because I feel that, not only working, as we've discussed, building the capacity of, some team members from the Heartland staff, but, once the students start to get access to what you're talking about, they'll be blown away, because they would, and this is the window that we can provide, they will never get that opportunity at any other school. Not only, even if they went to, some of the bigger schools, those programs just don't exist. And oftentimes, because of by no fault of their own, through caste or some scenario, and just being a female, they will drop out by the end of grade 3. And we have a long-term focus on scholarship education. And so you'll see it. And I feel that your program will have significant impact. And you can never underestimate the direct and the indirect impact of your presence and your programs. Because we found that, in times where we've done clothing drives or partnerships with other organisations where, through leadership activities, we've given out football jerseys or something like that, that might be 1 or 3 T-shirts that a child has. And that's the background. But what you will see is kids very enthusiastically involved. That's how I foresee it based on my previous experience.
Wow, it's interesting to hear from both your sides. So it's absolutely amazing, and I am definitely looking forward to it. So I absolutely can't wait. Now it's the 12th of April. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So gentlemen, thank you for coming on. We'll just cut it short here, because I think we can go over and over all long and keep going on in terms of talking about the amazing job that you guys have been doing with the school. Yeah, thanks, Patrick and Karan. I shall see you next month.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lorraine. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Right. Thank you so much.